Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Bala Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami. Everyone all together. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shundavai Paschisha Vansha Kalpacharubhyascha Bolo Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana Mohan Madana Mohan Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana by myself. Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. All together, bolo. Jaya Radhe, Krishna, Vrindavana. Shama Kunda, Radha Kunda, Giri Go Govardhan. Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan. Krishna Keshigata Bangsi Bata Dwadasakana Jaha Sabalila Koilo Shinandananda Shinandananda Vindavana Jaya Bolo Radhe Krishna Shinanda Jasoda Jaya Jaya Gopadan Shidamari Jaya Jaya Denu Vatsadan Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhiranagari Gopishwara Vrindavana Maj Gopishwara Vrindavana Maj Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhattu Dvijaraj Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhattu Dvijaraj Jaya Rohini Nanda Madhata Jaya Rohini Nanda Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jaya Basi Naga-Kanyagan Bhakti Teja Hara Paila Govinda Charan Govinda Charan Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Dala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram Vrindavan Rasa Sarva Rasa Sa La Rasa Sarva Rasa Sa Padakiya Bhave Jaha Brajete Pracha Bhave Jaha Brajete Pracha Vrindavana Keep going. Shijanava Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Shijanava Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Nama Sankirtan Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Bolo Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Radhe Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Govinda Gopinata Madana Mohan Gopinata Madana Mohan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kunda Giri Govardhan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Nityananda Prabhu ke Srila Prabhupada ke Samaveda Bhaktavinda ke Premananda Graganya Gana Go to Gularuharam Goranga Gura Tama Gopyara Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Rati Dam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Dileka Kola Kahe Premananda Hemona Gauranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Laha Gaurangera Namare Bolo Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoy Amara Pranare Go Bhaje Se Hoy Amara Pranare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Yasyaiva padambuja bhakti labhya prema bidana parama pumarta tasmai jagan mangala mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kuryat Kripaya Jadi Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatapta Brajabala Bapahimam Pancha Kopadarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I want to beg apology from all the devotees. I'm not a proper speaker, but my only qualification is we have some instruction from my Guru Janas, and we're trying to do that as a service for them, to please them. So please tolerate and forgive me. We'd like to read something tonight from Chaitanya Charitamrita. What is the nature of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives a very beautiful verse. He says, Shruyatam Shruyatam Nityam, Giyatam Giyatam Muda, Chinchitam Chinchitam Bhaktas Chaitanya Charitamritam. The first thing is, Shruyatam Shruyatam Nityam. We should hear. Shruyatam Shruyatam, you hear. How often do we hear? Once a week? Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. We always hear. Maharaj is speaking so nicely about this morning. We've been speaking something about this the last few days. Parasparanu Katanam Pavanam Bhagavad-yasa. This is the nature of a Vaishnav Sangha. We come together in here. So Shruyatam Nityam. And then what do you do after you've heard? What comes after that? Giyatam Muda. Giyatam means you speak. So you've heard that, as we were saying the other day, Sri Guru, he speaks. That's the function of Gurudev. And the function of the Sishya is to hear. And then after the disciple hears, and the Guru says, now you speak. But what is the kirtan of that disciple? The kirtan of the disciple is another name for Shravan. He's hearing, because he just repeats what he's heard. So Shruyatam Nityam, Giyatam Muda. And Giyatam, he adds a little something, Muda. What does Muda mean? Muda means with great happiness. You repeat this thing. And then what happens next? Chinchitam Bhaktas. You become a Bhakta, a natural devotee. It's not difficult to chant without falling asleep. We automatically remember Krishna. Chinchitam Bhaktas, Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the nature of this nectar of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada translates this: O devotees, may the transcendental life and characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always be heard, chanted, and meditated upon with great happiness. So, a few weeks ago, we were having some email exchanges with the devotees here. Shankar Prabhu asked us what we might like to speak about, and we just sent him a list of things which have currently been on our mind. And he chose some different things, and I thought it was very appropriate that he picked this topic following the previous topic that we have, this Avista to Avesh. So I'd like to read something from the very first verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which has no purport by Srila Prabhupada. And with your blessings and permission, I'd like to read something to you from an article by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati on this first verse. It's a very, very astonishing verse, and it's very, very philosophical. We're going to go on a long, kind of crooked journey tonight, trying to understand this principle of Avista to Avesh. Avista means when someone becomes absorbed in something. And Avesh means something happens to them. Please, everyone, come forward. The ladies can come all the way up here. Mataji, you can come all the way up to this table. It's okay. Yeah, all the way up here. Come. And then can move up also. Please. I told them yesterday I took a bath last week, so it's okay. Don't make me nervous. Please come. This poor Mataji is sitting by herself. You should help her. Go close. Move up. Yes, come. So there's kind of a progression. And our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, very esoteric topic, very deep topic, and a very relevant topic for ourselves. From Avista to Avesh. Really what this subject is about is empowerment. Because Avesh means when someone becomes empowered. And just as an introduction, after meditating on Srila Prabhupada's mission, something for the last 30 years or so, I came to some conclusion that Srila Prabhupada exhibited 4 different interactions with the devotees. Please listen and see what you think of this. It's not exactly written down, but we can see. Srila Prabhupada stressed that we should love devotees. We've been hearing this last night, this morning. And he stressed trust, because the symptom of love is trust. If you tell someone that I love you, but you don't trust them, it's not really love. And conversely, we have to earn trust. We have to show that we're worthy of someone's love. This is the nature of relationships. It's not just that we show up and shake each other's hand, like we were saying last night, and just say in a sentimental way, I love you, you're my friend. No, it's because we say so. So the symptom of love is trust. What is the symptom of trust? Anyone who has a teenage child, they know the symptom of trust is when they come to you when they're about 16 or 18, they say, Dad, I want the keys to the car. The symptom of trust is responsibility. But again, you have to earn that trust. If you're a teenager and you're coming back at 1 o'clock in the morning every day, and your parents are telling you to be home at 9 o'clock, they're not going to trust you. Why will I give you the keys to the car? I don't know what you're going to do. We also have to earn the trust of Gurudev. And we earn that trust by becoming confidential, as Maharaj was saying this morning. Not just with other devotees, but also with Gurudev. Gurudev has many, many confidential things in his heart that he'd like to share with the devotees. But if we run around just telling everybody, Guru Maharaj said this. Once my Guru Maharaj, one of my godbrothers approached him and said, Guru Maharaj, I'm having trouble, my mind's very agitated with women. And so then Guru Maharaj told him, you recite this mantra, and he gave him a mantra. The mantra was actually just an English sentence. It wasn't a Sanskrit mantra. And later on, I was talking, and Guru Maharaj told him, don't tell this to anyone. And later on, I was speaking with him, he said, you know, Guru Maharaj told me. And he said this thing. And somehow I mentioned it to Guru Maharaj, oh, he said this thing. And Guru Maharaj got very angry with him. Hey, I told you, don't tell anyone this thing. This is a mark of a disciple. They can keep something confidential, that they know who to share it with and who not to share it with. We've been reading from the 11th canto, chapter 3, about the qualities of disciples. And one of the important qualities of a disciple is they know how to associate with different types of people. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains it. He says, Deho nata jata jata. According to someone's position, we deal with them accordingly. So, the symptom of love is trust. The symptom of trust is responsibility. And the result of responsibility is empowerment. If we have these 4 things, if we love Gurudev and we show that he can trust us, he'll give us responsibility. And it doesn't matter, you may be an old devotee, you may be a new devotee. I just think of Mukunda Maharaj and Janaki and Shyamasundar Prabhu and Jamuna and those early devotees. They'd only been devotees for just a few months practically. And I think they were probably following the regulated principles. But they certainly didn't know any Shastra or anything. They were very, very new devotees. And Srila Prabhupada gave them responsibility, the same responsibility which was, we could say, the crest jewel of responsibilities that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gave to his most advanced sannyasi disciples who'd been devotees for 30 years or so, who grew up in Vaishnava families. And Prabhupada gave these, I could call them former hippies, I'm not quite sure how former they were exactly. Prabhupada gave them such a responsibility because Prabhupada loved them. Prabhupada trusted him, and they earned that trust. They got such a responsibility, and what happened? They became so very, very empowered. And this is a story that we could tell basically about every disciple of Srila Prabhupada. I think the devotees going out for book distribution for so many, many hours, for going places where devotees, Govinda Mars was telling me a story the other day, that when he joined the first temple he was in, they had deities of Jagannath, Baladi, Subhadra. And he was trying to figure out, what is this, you know? So he went to the temple president one day. They told him he should do the worship or something. I think they just had new people also worshiping. And he went to the temple president and said, who is this? The temple president said, I don't know. I don't know either. And it wasn't uncommon for someone just to move into the temple, and they'd been a devotee for 1 week or something. And then someone would come and say, okay, now you should go open a preaching center. And they'd send him to some other city. Isn't it? The older devotees, Lakshmanath Prabhu, is this what was going on? Yeah. Devotees were becoming very, very empowered. And this is a very important principle in our movement. It's a long introduction before this verse, but I'll tell one last little story. We've been doing parikramas in Jagannath Puri for 25 years or so, and one year we had a group of Gurukuli girls from Mayapur come, and they were like from the age of 8 to 12 or something. And one day we took them to the temple at Tota Gopinath, and we spoke something. And afterwards we're walking on the road together, and one of the little girls, she looks up at me and she says, Prabhuji, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. Very sweet, right? And I stopped, and I said, no. And those little girls were taken a bit back. And I said, no, you should be better than me, because you come from such a much better family than I do. And I'll never forget, it was a big thing in my life, the look on her face when I told her that. We should empower devotees, and that's what our movement is all about. It's a complete opposite of envy. And so we'd like to discuss something tonight, how that empowerment takes place, and it's the basic principle of our movement, as you'll see. So the first verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakam Tat Prakasham Statak Chakti Krishna Chaitanya Samnakam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord, the Lord's incarnations, His plenary portions, His energies, and the primeval Lord Himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So this is not the Panchatattva. This is 6 divisions, not 5. It's a Panchatattva plus 1. And what is that 1? Vande Gurun. First words of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vande Gurun. The first things Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami says, Vande Gurun, I offer my obeisances to my Gurudev. And actually, he uses the word Gurun, which is plural, meaning all my spiritual masters. We, in Srila Prabhupada comments in one purport, we only have one Diksa-Guru, but we may have many Sikhs-Gurus. Sometimes devotees, they wonder, which is more important? In ISKCON, generally we place more stress on the Diksa-Guru. But that's not the case in India. It's not the case in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Once someone asked this question to my Guru Maharaj, who is more important, the Diksa-Guru or the Sikhs-Guru? And he gave such a good answer. He said, whoever occupies your heart. That's what's important. And we see in the case of Raghunath Das Goswami, who was this Diksa-Guru? Do you know? Yadunandan Acharya. How many of you have heard of Yadunandan Acharya? Raise your hand. Huh? He was friends with Haridas Thakur. He was a great devotee, but we don't hear so much about Yadunandan Acharya. Although Raghunath Das Goswami, when he, in his books, when he speaks about his spiritual master, he mentions his name. Yadunandan Acharya is my Gurudev, because that's his official link to Krishna. But who do we think of when we think of Raghunath Das Goswami's spiritual master? Can anyone say? There's a phrase in Chaitanya Charitamrita spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, Surupera Raghunath. That Raghunath, he's the Raghunath of Surup Damodar Goswami. And Surup Damodar Goswami is his Sikhs Guru. we don't think much about Yadunandan Acharya, but we think so much of Sri Rupa Damodar Goswami. So in this way, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in a plural way, Vande Gurun. We may have only one Diksa-Guru because he gives us a mantra. You've gotten the mantra. You don't have to get that mantra again. But Siksha Gurus, you may have many, many Siksha Gurus who teach you. So it's plural. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given an article. I'll translate this from the English to easier English as we go along. Please be patient. Just as we said last night, fasten your safety belts. Okay? This is a little bit of a philosophical journey. But it's very, very beautiful. To me, this is one of the most amazing, astonishing discussions I've ever heard about Guru and disciple. Please hear. The associates of Sri Krishna Chaitanya are constituents of himself. Okay, just the first sentence. The associates of Mahaprabhu are parts of himself. They're constituents. If it is our object, it is our object in this short paper to study the implications of these doctrines. Sri Krishna's active existence. He has an active existence. Sri Krishna's active existence involves the undivided operation of the following 6 divine entities, viz., gurus, plural, devotees, avatars, divine descents, divine manifestations, divine powers, and Godhead himself. All these are jointly and severally divine. Okay? I won't explain to you about the Panchatattva. That's another long discussion. I presume that you know who Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari, who those personalities are, Gaura Bhakta Brinda. So these personalities, they're all jointly together, they're worshipable, and separately, they're also worshipable. So listen. As Sri Krishna Chaitanya is identical with Sri Krishna, the active existence of Sri Chaitanya also implies the cooperation of the above 6 divine categories. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has an active existence. It's not a passive existence. And his existence implies the cooperation, the working together of the above 6 divine categories. When Sri Krishna Chaitanya was pleased to manifest his appearance on this mundane plane, all the 6 constituents of himself also necessarily made their appearance as part and parcel of himself. Okay? Everybody's digested that? Okay? It gets easier, don't worry. The appearance of Godhead in this world implies the co-appearance of all his divine paraphernalia. Godhead must not be conceived as, in any way, separable from his entourage. Srila Prabhupada spoke about this many, many times. When he said in one lecture, my favorite Nectar Devotion lectures in Vrindavan, 1972, Prabhupada said that when we speak of Krishna, Krishna's never alone. Just as when we say the king is coming, Prabhupada said when we say the king is coming, it means his ministers are coming, his queens are coming, his bodyguards are coming, his servants are coming. So many, many people are also coming. And so when we say Krishna, Krishna means many other persons. As we'll hear from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, it's an extended subject. Godhead, shorn, shorn means to cut or separate. Godhead shorn of any of his paraphernalia is a delusion. If you think I can approach Krishna on my own, and that's the purpose of the Hare Krishna movement, separate from anyone else, that's a delusion. Ye me bhakta jana parta, na me bhakta sate jana, mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktas te me bhakta tamomata. Krishna tells Arjuna in the Adi Purana that those people who say they're my devotees are not my devotees. But the devotees of my devotees, they're my real devotees. God had shorn of any of his paraphernalia is a delusion. In the same way, the appearance of divine paraphernalia involves the appearance of the divinity. Okay, that's a little technical sounding, but let's think about it. In the same way, the appearance of the divine paraphernalia means the Lord's devotees. When those devotees appear, it also means the appearance of the divinity. Can we separate Krishna's appearance in Canada and America in the late 60s and early 70s from the appearance of Srila Prabhupada? If Srila Prabhupada hadn't have come, how would we have Krishna? You couldn't have Krishna by himself. Krishna couldn't just come. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent a book to McGill University. But we don't know of anybody who became devotees from that book. Has anyone ever heard of anyone becoming a devotee from that book? But when Srila Prabhupada came, and Prabhupada didn't just come alone. Because when we speak about the paraphernalia of the Lord, it means the Lord's present also. He appears. So when the devotee appears, the Lord appears. When the Lord appears, the devotees appear. When Srila Prabhupada came, Srila Prabhupada brought with him Krishna. Krishna say tomorrow, Krishna dite paro, tomorrow shakati achi. This is Gurudev. This is a Vaishnav. You have Krishna. Ami to Kangala. Krishna Bole. Daitava Pachi Pachi. And I'm running after you. Mother Srimati, one very wonderful Sadik Vaishnavi in Vrindavan, she raised a question. What's the necessity of running after Gurudev? Why do we have to run? He said, because Gurudev's running. Why is Gurudev running? Because Gurudev's trying to catch up to his Guru. And his Guru is running because he's trying to catch his Guru. And this is our parampara. Everyone is running, trying to catch Krishna, trying to catch Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gurudev, the Vaishnava, they have Krishna, and they can give us Krishna. When they appear, we should understand that Krishna appears. The two are distinct yet inseparable forms of the one Supreme. Sri Chaitanya is the divine personality himself. His associates share his divine nature. Sri Krishna Chaitanya is an extended subject. I love that sentence. Sri Krishna Chaitanya is an extended subject. He's not a limited subject. All the 6 divine forms have to be worshipped if it is the intention to worship Sri Chaitanya. The Guru is one of his constituents. It is necessary to receive initiation from him. It is also necessary to be instructed by him. As teacher, the Guru has 2 forms. He guides from within. This is Chaitya Guru. He also appears as a guide and instructor existing outside his disciples. Initiation is received from one person only. Instructions may be had from many gurus. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami himself was instructed by the famous 6 Goswamis. So this subject matter about Avista to Avesa is spoken about in different places, directly and indirectly, in Chaitanya Charitamrita and other literatures. I'll sing a verse from Adi Lila chapter 10, and you can chant Hare Krishna in response. Double time when we chant Hare Krishna. Bhakti Kripa Korin Prabhu 18 Ashwarupe Sakshat Avesa Avir Baba Rupe Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestows his causeless mercy upon his devotees in 3 features. This is how Krishna gives his mercy, in 3 ways. Through his own direct appearance, sakshat. It's said that Gauridas Pandit was such a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to visit him, and Mahaprabhu rowed a boat across the Ganga. And the oar that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to row that boat, it's still there today in the village of Gauridas Pandit, Ambika Kalna. And Gauridas Pandit, he was so happy. He loved Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu so much. He said, you shouldn't leave. Mahaprabhu said, anyway, you have some deities made of us. So Gauridas Pandit was happy that the Lord waited there while the deities were made. And then Mahaprabhu and Nityananda said, so now we're going to go. And Gauridas said, no, you should stay. They said, you have the deities. He said, no, I don't want the deities, I want you. So the deities are also, no, don't try to trick me. I want you, I don't want the deities. So okay, then all of a sudden, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda became the deities. And then the deities started walking away. And Gauridas Pandit became a little confused, and he started running after the deities. No, don't go. And then the the former deities that were originally Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they became deities. They started walking again. And then the others became deities. And this happened a few times. And then Gauridas said, okay, I got it. You're non-different. So Shri Shri Gaura Nitai have appeared directly here in Ottawa. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he describes that Name prasvatito hoy rupa guna karma. That the first thing that happens when we chant the holy name with sincerity, we're praying, please, Krishna, give me service to you. Then an amazing thing happens. Krishna appears in the form of the deity so that we can render service to him. And we can understand when we go somewhere, especially by the appearance of the deity, and we see here, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai looks so effulgent, and so have so much love with them. They're a manifestation of the love of the local devotees. They're a manifestation of the service of the local devotees. They're a manifestation of the bhajan of the local devotees. Shri Shri Gaura Nitai appear for them. That's Sakshat. And he appears, secondly, Avesh. His prowess, Prabhupada says, his prowess within someone he empowers, Avesh, and his manifestation of your bhav. Prabhupada writes in his purport, the sakshat feature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is his personal appearance. Avesh refers to invested power, like that invested in Nakul Brahmachari. Avirbhav is a manifestation of the Lord that appears even though he's personally not present. For example, Sri Sachi Mata offered food at her home to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he was far away in Jagannath Puri. And when she opened her eyes after offering the food, she saw that it had actually been eaten by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, when Srivas Thakur performed Sankirtan, everyone felt the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even in his absence. This is another example of Avirbhav. There's a similar example given by Srila Jiva Goswami in Gopal Champu, that, when Krishna didn't return to Vrindavan from Gokul, although he promised the Brijbasis, one of the last things he told them, Ayasya, I'm going to return. But then he didn't return. And Nanda Maharaj, he said, Krishna, how can I return without you? What will they say to me? And Krishna gave him some letters. He said, you give these to the cowherd boys. And to some very special cowherd boys, who were known as Priyanarma Sakas, he gave some special letters for the gopis. And with Nanda Maharaj, he gave a letter to Mother Yashoda. And what did that letter say? It said, Mother, every day you're cooking for me in the big kitchen. And 3 days ago, you made kheer, you made sweet rice, you made puris with sugar, you made this thing, and then yesterday you made something else. And Krishna described everything that she cooked. And she said, you think that it's just a dream that I'm coming and eating those things, but I'm eating them directly. I know what you're cooking. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears in this way. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about this, that this is Avirbhav. The Lord directly appears in that place. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila chapter 20. He quotes Lagu Bhagavatamrita, Jnana Shaktyadi Kalaya Yatra Vishto Janardana Ta Avesa Nagadyante Jiva Eva Mahatama. A living entity who is specifically empowered by the Lord with knowledge or strength is technically called Aveshrup. As stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Shakti Vinanahi Tara Pravartana. Unless a devotee is specifically empowered by the Lord, he cannot preach the holy name of the Lord all over the world. This is the explanation of Aveshrup. And Srila Prabhupada speaks something about Avista in his purport in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 38. Please listen. The gopis always thought of the Lord's lotus feet when he was walking in the pasturing grounds. And as described in the previous verse, simply by thinking of the Lord's lotus feet, the gopis were fully absorbed in transcendence. Avishta, Chitta, Nabhavaya Kopate. Like the gopis, one who is always absorbed in thought of the Lord is beyond the material platform and will not remain in this material world. It is our duty, therefore, to always, what? Hear, chant, and think about the Lord's lotus feet, as actually done by Vaishnavas who have decided to live in Vrindavan always. And think of the Lord's lotus feet 24 hours a day. So, this is what we're given to do. We should meditate upon the Lord. And when the devotee becomes avishta, becomes absorbed in the Lord, something happens to that person. There's a story about Vrindavan. Shall we tell you? Okay. That there was one newly married gopi. And she wanted very much to see Shyamasundar, Nandanandan Krishna. She'd heard so much about him. And all the other gopis were coming to their doorsteps and going outside their doors to see Krishna when he was going with Balaram and the cowherd boys to herd the cows. But this newly married gopi, her mother-in-law told her, you don't go outside. Outside there's a black snake. And if you see that black snake, the black snake may bite you. So you're not allowed outside the door. She was crying and crying. She wanted so much to see Krishna. So everyone else was able to go outside the door and look at Krishna. But this gopi wasn't allowed. But she found there was a crack in the door. And so she was looking to the hole in that crack. And suddenly Krishna turned and looked toward her. And just at that moment, Krishna grabbed the tail of one of the calves nearby him and twisted it in a certain way and let go. And the calf went running right to the doorway of that gopi. And Krishna went there, and he collected his calf and he smiled at that gopi. And Krishna and the boys went to the forest. And then that gopi's mother-in-law and her in-laws, they came back and they found that gopi just kind of staring into space with a dazed look on her face. And they said, hey, what's wrong with you? And someone said, oh, that black snake. The black snake bit her. Oh, we have to get her mind off that black snake. They said, hey, you churn some butter. That's the activity of the gopis. You're supposed to churn butter. Right? So they gave her the churning rod, and now her mind is just on Nandanandan Krishna. She's become Avisa. She's completely absorbed in thinking of Krishna. And she takes some mustard seeds and dumps them into the butter churn. And she starts churning the mustard seeds, which makes a terrible noise. I said, what are you doing? You can't churn mustard seeds, crazy woman. Stop that. Here, take this baby. They gave her someone's baby. Now go to the well and get some water. So she went to the well, and she took the bucket. She took the bucket and she put it down. She took the baby and she started tying the rope around the baby's waist. Like she's going to lower the baby into the well. And someone said, hey, what are you doing? Crazy woman. So this is Avista. When someone becomes completely, totally absorbed in Krishna. And Sanatana Goswami, he speaks about this in his Krishna Lila Stava. Very nice phrase, listen carefully, very simple Sanskrit. He says, Rupa Namashrita Avista. 4 words, Rupa Nama Ashrita Avista. When someone, Ashrita, takes shelter of the Rup, the form of the Lord, and the name of the Lord, then what happens? Avishta. They become absorbed. Another meaning of Avishta is similar to Avesh. Krishna enters into them. And this is described in a number of places in different literatures. The Brahma Vivarta Purana describes Anye Sam Chabavid Jnanam Shrutva Shastram Satam Mukat Samurti Manti Shastrani Bhave Santas Charantihi. That when someone hears Shastra from the mouth of a Vaishnava, there's some loving exchange, because that Shastra is a person. It's not just some information. When someone hears from the lips of a person, then that Shastra enters into them. And that devotee becomes, those devotees become like moving incarnations of Shastra themselves. Swamurti Manti Shastrani Bhavi Santas Charantihi. Charanti means to move about. They become like moving Shastras themselves. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also describes this principle in Harinam Chintamani in a very beautiful way. Please chant Hare Krishna with me. Let's sing this. Vaishnava nikate jari Vaise kotor lakshan Deha hoite hoy Krishna Sakti Nisarana. Bolo Hare Krishna. Vaishnava nikate jadi. Jadi means if. Vaishnava nikate is someone comes close. Nikate means close. If someone comes close to a Vaishnava, Vaise koto lakshana, just even for a few moments, deha hoite hoy Krishna Shakti Nisarana, then someone will come in contact with power coming from that Vaishnava's body. And there's so many stories. I heard once Srila Prabhupada came to one airport, and he's surrounded by so many devotees. And there was one police officer, someone who was there. Maybe someone knows this story, can correct me if you know the proper details. And he said, man, he's floating. He saw Srila Prabhupada. That he's floating. Just coming in contact a little bit with Srila Prabhupada's presence, with the presence of a Vaishnava. There's a kind of Shakti with that Vaishnava. Sei Shakti Shadavan Hridoye Pasya Bhaktira Udoya Kore Deha Kanpyaya Hare Krishna. Sei Shakti Shadavan Hridoye Pasya. When someone who has faith, they have strong, firm faith in Gurudev. They're hearing from Gurudev with firm faith. Then that Shakti enters into their heart. And the power of that Shakti makes their body tremble. Bhaktir Udoya Kore Deha Kanpaya. It makes bhakti, bhakti arise in the heart. We have some fertile field. Bhakti can naturally arise in our heart, but we need some flame to light that with. And that flame is the words of the Vaishnavas, the words of the spiritual master. Jai Basila Vaishnavera Nikate Shradhai Tahara hridoy bhakti haibe udoy bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So someone who stays with great faith near such a Vaishnav, they find that that bhakti arises in their own heart. Pratame asivetar muke Krishna nam namera prabhave pabe sarva gunagram bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. From the moment that Krishna's name enters his mouth, by that holy name's power, he attains all good qualities. There's a nice song by Lochan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Mangal where he speaks about the Nam Yagya of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's a big subject. I won't go in that direction right now. He says, but this, in every yagya, you have to have a kund, you have to have ghee, you have to have a spoon. So the spoon in the yagya, the Nam Yagya of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is your tongue. And the kund is your ear. And the holy name is the ghee. And the fire is the bhakti in your heart. So first we hear this. Gurudev, he's doing his sacrifice on behalf of his guru. And he speaks the holy name. And he does harinam, he does kirtan with people. And they hear that holy name. It enters into their ear. And then they're instructed, now you speak it. Then it comes out their mouth. And then it goes back into their ear. And then it enters into their heart. And what happens when you pour ghee on a fire? The fire starts burning brightly. So similarly, when we put the ghee of the holy name from the spoon of our tongue into the kund of our ear, then it goes onto the fire in our heart. And that bhakti becomes very strong by hearing from that devotee. So pratame, first of all, asibe tar muke Krishna nam. And we hear, when Krishna's name enters that devotee's mouth, by the holy name's power, he attains all good qualities. I'd like to read you something more from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's article again. Same article where he continues. It's going to get a little more deep now. So take a deep breath. The Guru is the embodiment of the manifestation of the divinity to the pure receptive spiritual essence of the disciple. Everybody understands that? Should I repeat that again? A little slowly? The Guru is the embodiment of the manifestation of the divinity. Okay? Then we got that, right? When Krishna appears, the manifestation of Krishna, the embodiment of his form, is Gurudev. The Guru is the embodiment of the manifestation of the divinity. But how does he appear, and who does he appear to? The Guru is the embodiment of the manifestation of the divinity who appears to the pure, receptive, spiritual essence of the disciple. Not just the mind of the disciple, but the pure, receptive, has to be receptive, pure, receptive, spiritual essence of this disciple. My grandmas used to call this Atma Krandana, or the crying of the soul. When we began to cry for Krishna, that crying of the soul, that's the pure, receptive spiritual essence of the disciple. I want Krishna. I want him. The Guru is the real and original recipient of the truth. Okay? He's a real recipient, person who's gotten the truth, and he's the original person who's gotten the truth for me, for each one of us. He communicates his knowledge to the disciple, not just to everyone. That knowledge from Gurudev is passed on to the receptive spiritual essence of the disciple. Shushu sho shudadanasya Vasudeva kata ruchi shanmaha sevaya viprapunya tirtana sevana. When that devotee has some greed and he serves Gurudev with faith, by rendering that service, the heart of the Vaishnava melts. And when that Vaishnava's heart melts, that becomes our bhakti. He says then, please listen, this is really far out. The disciple is too small a particle to be able by himself to receive the whole truth. We're so tiny. The whole truth is so big. We're too small a particle to do that. He's able to receive Him, that absolute truth, through the power of the Guru. Okay? The Guru, as it were, takes the disciple by the hand and guides his every step on the plane of the absolute. It is perpetual tutelage on the part of the disciple. My Guru Maharaj used to put this in another way. I'm eternally a disciple of my spiritual master. There's never a time when I'm no longer a disciple of my spiritual master. It's perpetual tutelage on the part of the disciple. This fact may be expressed in another way. Listen to this sentence. The cognitive faculty of the individual soul can have no ground to stand upon unless the divinity himself condescends to be the legs as well as the ground on which he is to stand to function at all. You might find that a little hard to understand. The cognitive faculty of the individual soul, our ability to perceive spirit. As we were reading the other day in another article from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, another whopper of big words and very deep thoughts, called Philanthropism. We can't even practically say the word, the title of the article. He speaks there about how the senses that we use to try to understand divinity, it doesn't work because these are the same senses that bind us up in this material world. But only if those senses are engaged by Gurudev. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavid Graham With our senses we can't perceive spirit, but Sevanmukhi hi Jiva Do. When Sevanmukhi, when we render service to Gurudev, then Jiva Do, Jiva means our tongue, which is one of the senses. But it's no longer my sense. I've given that to Gurudev. I've given it. Then Swayameva Sparatyada. Then we begin to perceive that. So let me read this again, a little slowly. Please try to understand. The cognitive faculty of the individual soul, our ability to perceive, can have no ground to stand upon unless the divinity himself, unless the Lord himself condescends, agrees to be the legs as well as the ground on which the disciple is to stand to function at all. For us to be able to perceive spirit, Krishna has to come in a form. He has to agree to be the legs that we use to walk. He has to agree to be the ground that we can walk on. And therefore we say that Gurudev is our everything. This function of the divinity is performed by the Guru. Now listen to this sentence. I love this. As a matter of fact, the divinity actually reveals him only to himself. The divinity reveals him, the absolute truth, Krishna, only to himself. We'll come back to that. And listen to the next sentence. The individual soul is a separable constituent of the Guru. The individual soul is a separable constituent of the Guru. Because when we come close to that Vaishnava, as we're hearing in Harinam Chintamani, then that Shakti from the Vaishnava comes to us. When we render humble service, Vishrambena Guru Seva, we render very humble service to that Vaishnava, Gurudev, then his desire, his mood enters into the heart of the disciple. And therefore the individual soul is a separable constituent of the Guru. It is only when he, the disciple, happens to be associated by his own free choice with the Guru in a completely dependent manner that he can be on the plane of the Guru's service of the divinity. Trying to remember, there's a nice verse. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's described. What is the verse I'm trying to think? Diksa-Kali, you know this verse, Maharaj? Diksa-Kali, Bhakta Kori Atma Samarpana. That at the time of Diksha, when the disciple surrenders to Gurudev, that Atma Samarpana, Krishna says, I'm non-different from that devotee. This is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta means here. It's not Mayavad philosophy. It's not something impersonal. It's not that we become God. But Krishna enters into the devotee. This is Avista to Avesh. When we become absorbed in serving Gurudev and hearing from Gurudev and exalted Vaishnavas, then Rupa Namasrita Avista, that form, that name we take shelter of, it enters into us. And we become Avista. That disciple, in that sense, becomes non-different from Krishna. And therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, the divinity actually reveals him only to himself. If we want to understand God, we have to become like God. We have to become divine. And in this article, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is explaining how the different paraphernalia of the Lord is non-different from the Lord. The 6 different features that the Lord appears in, they're all non-different. And they all have to be worshipped if we want to worship the Lord. So for us to approach Krishna, for us to approach the spiritual, we have to become spiritual. We have to become like Krishna. Diksha-Kali, Bhakta Kori, Atma Samarpana. And that happens at the time of initiation, when the disciple fully surrenders, small point. And then that disciple, many amazing things happen to him. In this regard, we can tell many different stories. There was one great Bengali devotee, his name was Bihari Lal. And Bihari Lal was serving his Guru Maharaj, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, with so much sincerity. On one occasion when they were sitting together, Jagannath Das Babaji told Bihari Lal, hey, Bihari Lal, read Chaitanya Charitamrita to me. And Bihari Lal, he said, Guru Maharaj, I don't know how to read. I'm telling you, read. Yes, Guru Maharaj. So he picked up the book, he opened the book, and he started perfectly reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita by the order of his Gurudev. On one occasion, at the end of his life, or prior to this is another story too. On one occasion, Jagannath Das Babaji was doing some bhajan, and he said, hey, Bihari Lal, you play Mridanga? He said, Guru Maharaj, I don't know how to play Mridanga. I said play Mridanga. Yes, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj told me I have to do. And so he picked up the Mridanga and he started playing very wonderfully. I have a godbrother named Gunarnava Prabhu, who was a small boy living in a village. And one day, one sadhu came, Gaur-Govinda Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj. And he was doing kirtan, there was no one to play Mridanga. And suddenly he just turned and pointed at this boy and said, pick up you play the Mridanga. And he said, Maharaj, I've never picked up the Mridanga in my life. I don't know, you play Mridanga. And he picked it up, and he's like the best Mridanga player in Orissa today. And he never took any lessons. He just immediately started playing because he had faith in the order of that sadhu. Taini Brahma Hridaya Dekabayi Muyanta Surya. Krishna entered into the heart of Lord Brahma by giving him some instruction. And Srila Prabhupada comments that when we get the instruction from Guru, along with that instruction comes the potency to be able to carry that function out. Once Jagannath Das Babaji, at the end of his life, he called for Bihari Lal and he said, so Bihari Lal, I'm not going to stay much longer. You have served me in such a nice way. What do you want? You tell me. If you want, I'll ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give you 5 carts of gold right now. You've served me for so long, you don't have anything. And Bihari Lal shook his head. He said, Guru Maharaj, I don't want anything. All that I want is you. There's nothing else that I want. I just always want you by my side. And when he heard that, Jagannath Das Babaji, he smiled. And he said, thank God. He said, I was about to give you these 5 carts of gold. But I wanted to hear from you first what you really wanted. So now I'm giving you my blessing. That you'll never experience any problems. You'll have whatever you need. All your desires will be fulfilled. You'll live to be 100 years old. And I'll always be by your side. And you'll always hear my voice in your heart. This is Gurudev. And this is what the devotees want. We want Gurudev to enter into our heart. Gurudev means Krishna. Gurudev is a form of Krishna. And when that happens, the devotee becomes empowered. And amazing things happen. Now you may say that, well, this is relevant for great devotees like Bihari Lal or some other exalted personality like Rupa Goswami, who Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said that he entered into. Let me tell you another story. This is from a little-known Bengali book by a disciple of Janava Mata. His birth name was Balaram. And when she initiated him, she gave him the name Nityananda Das. It's pretty good to be called Nityananda Das by the wife of Lord Nityananda. And on the order of Janava Mata, Nityananda Das wrote this book, Prema Vilas, which is quoted quite often by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, also Srila Prabhupada sometimes quoted this book. So in Prema Vilas, there's a story in chapter 18 about one caste Brahmin who was a ruler of Gadarhat. His name was Raghavendra Roy. And Raghavendra Roy, he had 2 sons named Santosh and Chanda Roy. And Chanda Roy was very, very powerful. Both sons were very powerful, but especially Chanda Roy. Very physically powerful person. He was very skilled and expert in using all type of weapons. But he was a very bad person. Boat badmas. Big rascal. He was always engaged in so many terrible sinful activities. He was such a bad person that if someone were just to say the words Chanda Roy, when the other villagers would just hear his name, they'd start running away. Just hearing his name. Such a terrible person. And so Chanda Roy was appointed by his father to be the zamindar of a fort called Raj Mahal. And he had a whole city under his control. He had 5,000 horses and infantry who were following his command. And he was a great tyrant. He was going around and attacking different cities. Robbing and killing people was one of his favorite pastimes. But he also very much liked to contaminate the daughters and wives of the different villagers. People were so horrified by his behavior, but no one was powerful enough to stop Chanda Roy. Chanda Roy would worship Durga Devi regularly, and every year for Durga Puja, he would make a deity of Durga Devi, and he would sacrifice thousands of animals to Durga Devi. One day, Chitragupta came to visit Yamaraj. And Chitragupta, if you don't know, he's the scribe of Yamaraj. He keeps the books. And he came to Yamaraj and he says, look, boss, I got a complaint. There's this guy called Chanda Roy. I've got writer's cramp. I can't keep up with him. We've got an encyclopedia about this guy already. He said there was 2 persons previously. His names were Jagai and Madai. And they were great debauchees. But these 2 brothers, Chanda Roy and his brother, they're much, much worse. And Yamaraj, he said, anyway, let them be. So Chanda Roy continued his reign of terror. And it said that one day, a Brahma Rakshasa ghost entered into the body of Chanda Roy. And Chanda Roy lost all of his strength. He became near death. His father, Raghavendra Roy, became very, very concerned, and he called for all the different doctors in the area, please, can you help my son? Please help my son. But nobody could do anything. Finally, a great astrologer came, and he made some calculations, And he told him that a very powerful Brahma Rakshasa ghost has entered his body. And this Brahma Rakshasa has no desire to leave him. And he said, according to my calculations that I've done, there's only one possible cure. And that's if the son of the Zamindar of Kituri Gram, he comes here. And according to my astrological calculations, he's a very good astrologer, that son of the Zamindar, his name is Narottam Das Thakur. Only if he comes will this Brahma Rakshasa go away. At that time, the ghost began to speak in the body of Chandaroy. He said, what he says is true. I'm not going to leave otherwise. So his father immediately wrote a message and sent it with a Brahmin. And that Brahmin went to Katuri Gram, and he arrived there, and they wouldn't allow him to see Narottam. But you can speak to the secretary. And so he went and he said, well, I have this message from Raghavendra Roy, and he has a son, Chanda Roy. Chanda Roy? We've heard of Chanda. Well, see, Chanda Roy has this problem. His ghost kind of entered his body, and we'd like Narottam to come. Forget it. I'm not even going to give him the message. The secretary just flatly refused. And so the Brahmin came back and explained. And the father began to cry. And he prayed to Durga Devi. Oh, Durga Ma, please, please save my son. Other than you, who can save him? That night, Durga Devi came in the form of an old Brahmani, an old Brahmin lady. And she came to see Chanda Roy, and she was very, very angry. You don't like to see Durga Devi angry. She was very frightening. She said, there's no sinful activities you haven't done. I'm not pleased with the so-called worship you've done of me. You've neglected worshiping Krishna. No one can get perfection without worshiping Krishna. People who try to worship me without worshiping Krishna, I'll never accept their worship. And she said, you're so bad. Even Yamaraj and Chitragupta, they're shocked by the mountain of sins that you've accumulated. You should follow this astrologer's advice and take shelter of Narottam Das Thakur. So the next morning, Chanda Roy was very weak on his bed. He called for his father and he said, Father, I had this dream. Durga Devi came to me and she told me that the only way I can become free from this ghost is if Narottam Das Thakur comes. Please, please, you try again. So this time his father, Raghavendra Roy, he sent 2 Brahmins. And he told them, you somehow or other get through and you personally speak to Narottam Das Thakur. And so they arrived there, and they had darshan of Narottam Das Thakur Mahashoy. And they begged him, they gave him this letter, please, please, you come. When they arrived in Kuturi Gram, Narottam was there with his good friend. Who's his good friend? Ramachandra Sangamage Narottam Das. Ramachandra Kaviraj is his very dear friend. And Narottam Das Thakur, he said, I don't know, Ramachandra, what do you think? What should we do? Should we accept these 2 or not? And Ramachandra Kaviraj, he told them, anyway, you have the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You pray to him, he'll make things clear. And suddenly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared at that place and told him that I want you to go and deliver this Chanda Roy and Santosh Roy. And so then Narottam Das Thakur, he went to that place. When he arrived in the village, they had a grand reception for him. They've taken so many banana trees. I don't think you have banana trees in Canada. It's very sad. Very nice. They put so many banana trees in the village, and they lit lamps, and they put haldi, turmeric on the ground, and rice and different things. It's very, very nice. Sometimes we do Harinam in some of the small villages in Orissa. There's one village we often go to, and there's one lady. She always comes out, and she wanted to wash the feet of all the devotees. We had like 50 devotees, 100 devotees coming in our party, and she wanted to wash the feet of every devotee. And the devotees are, no. And they're running away. So I saw her for the first time, she just laughed. And she took water and she threw it on the ground. A whole bunch of water in front of the Sankirtan party. And the devotees had to walk on the water. And then we saw her grabbing that water, smearing it all over her body. So this is life in the village. They were so excited. Narottam Das Thakur has come to our village. And so they gave such a wonderful greeting to him. Raghavendra Roy fell at his feet and he began to cry. Took him to his home and washed his feet. And when Narottam Das Thakur came in that house, that ghost began to shout. The ghost in the body of Chandra Roy. And he said, I've become an evil Brahma Rakshasa due to my past sins. And I've been living in this body for a long time. Narottam, now you've come here. Please save me. Let me take birth as your servant. And Narottam Das Thakur said, Hup! Chalo, you leave this body now. Go somewhere else. And then immediately the ghost left the body. And everyone was very, very impressed. And they all praised Narottam Das Thakur. And that time, Chandra Roy and Santosh, the two brothers, they came to Narottam. And what was the first thing they did? They wanted to take shelter of the lotus feet of Narottam Das Thakur. So did they go to him and say, you know, I've got lots of money. You'll be real lucky if you accept me as a disciple. I'm a very powerful person. I have 5,000 horsemen under my control. They didn't come like that. What did they do? They came and they cried. And they said, we've done so many terrible things. As Maharaj was saying this morning, Kayami, Sanatana Goswami said, who am I? They did even more than that. They said, we know who we are. Amito Adama. Tumi Adama Tarana. But Haridas Thakur says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Harinam Chintamani, Amita Adama, I am fallen. I am such an offender. Pasanchaham Maho Nityam. I'm a Pashandi. What's a Pashandi? Pashandi means an atheist. Pashandi also means someone who's a pretender, who's acting like a spiritual person when they're not. Pasanchaham, that's me. How often? Aho Nityam. I'm always a Pashandi. I'm always putting on an act. Pasanchaham Aho Nityam. What is my nature? Paraparada Dharmaka. My dharma, my nature is, I'm always committing offense to everyone. Paraparada Dharma. Kshama Shamam Hare Radha. Oh Radha, please forgive me. Dehi me sadhu dharmakam. Please make me into your genuine devotee, a genuine servant. So this is prarthana. This is some honest appeal. My Guru Maharaj used to say that your only qualification is your disqualification. Is being honest and embracing. This is called Vishad Yoga. Vishad means what? In Hindi, I think also Vishad means sadness, unhappiness. And what does Bish mean? Poison. Bish means poison. Ada in Sanskrit means to accept. So Vishad means unhappiness. Vishad Yoga is the title Baladev Vidyabhushan is given to the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We give a seminar about this very nice topic I like very much called the Yoga of Lamentation. And how lamentation and crying is a type of yoga which connects us to the Lord. That Bishad, lamentation, is our yoga, is our connection with the Lord. And what does it mean when Bishad, when we accept the poison, we embrace the poison of my fallen condition, then we have some connection with the Lord. Amita Adama Tumi Adama Tarana Ubaye Sambandha E Patita Pavana. This is my sambandha. This is my connection with you. I'm fallen and you're the deliverer of the fallen. I'm not the deliverer of the fallen. There's only one of those, Krishna. And if I think I'm the deliverer of the fallen, then there's not going to be any hope for me. But if I identify as being the fallen, then there's hope. So Chandra Roy and Santosh, they fell at the feet of Narottam Das Thakur and they confessed all the bad things that they did. Probably took a long time. A few days. And then Narottam told them, okay, go take bath. And they took bath in the Ganga. And they came back, and then Narottam, he poured the nectar of Krishna Nam in their ears, and he changed the name of Chanda Roy. He said, now your name is no longer Chanda Roy. People don't like that name. Now your name is Krishna Das. And when people hear your name, they'll be very, very happy. In a few days, they stayed with Narottam for some time. Narottam stayed there. And a few days later, he gave them Radha Krishna mantra. It's described in Prema Vilas. And then Narottam, he returned to Katori Gram. And Chanda Roy followed him and went with him. And he stayed with Gurudev for some time. And every day he was doing Harinam and hearing Harikatha. And then after 10 days, Chanda Roy asked for permission from his Guru Maharaj to go. And before he left, he gave Narottam some money, some bakshish, some different gifts from the heart. And Narottam blessed him. He said, you're my son. Guru Mata, Guru Pitta, Guru Hanupati. Gurudev is our mother, our father, our everything. He said, you're my son. Always remember the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, that they're the only truth and everything else is illusion. Nama Bina Kichu Nahiko Ar Choda Bhuvana Maji. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings in one song that the only thing there is in the holy name, in the universe, is the holy name. Everything else is useless. So a few days later, Chanda Roy was going to take bath in the Ganga, and the Muslim king heard from some of his spies that Krishna Das, now Chanda Roy, had gone to take bath in the Ganga. And so he sent hundreds of horsemen there. And they came and they captured Chanda Roy. And they brought him before that Muslim king, and the Muslim king told him, don't beat him, put him in prison, and don't give him any food, nothing to eat. He's going to die. Chanda Roy thought, anyway, this is it. My life is over. So Raghavendra Roy, he quickly got word that your son has been captured by the Muslims. They put him in prison. Raghavendra Roy became very, very concerned. He loved his son. And he made a proclamation. Whoever can rescue my son, whoever can help him, free him, I'll give him a huge reward. And finally one fellow arrived there. He was dressed all in black. He's a tantric. Tantrics do very strange things. I've heard sometimes they take human stool and they put it under their fingernails. And they do their sadhana in a crematorium. In Jagannath Puri, many Vaishnavas originally they were doing their bhajan also in a crematorium, but a different kind of crematorium. That was the place of Haridas Thakur. And now that Swargadwar has been moved down some, but originally Swargadwar, the place where they burn the bodies today, that was the place we now know as Haridas Thakur's Samadhi. It was a much, much bigger area. Now it's been pushed down. And the Vaishnavas who don't do bhajan in a crematorium, they were doing bhajan there, because that was the place of Haridas Thakur. So this tantric came and he said, Maharaj, I can do it. I can rescue your son. And so he went, and that tantric, he knew many strange things. And he went by a secret tunnel. And he came to that prison to see Chanda Roy. And Chanda Roy is sitting in there in this very dark place. You wouldn't like it very much. The cockroach is probably about this big, crawling on your face and all over, and rats and different things. And very dark and wet, and with no hope. And when he came, suddenly he came into that room, that prison. And Chanda Roy was shocked to see me. How did you get here? And that tantric said, your father sent me. He said, I've come to rescue you. And Chanda Roy Krishnadas said, how is it possible? He said, follow me, and I'll take you. He said, but this tunnel that we go through, it's very, very dangerous. There's many cobras there, and there's scorpions and different things. Don't worry, I'll give you a mantra, the goddess Kali. And if you chant this mantra, then you'll be able to pass through this tunnel. When Krishnadas Chanda Roy heard the words of that tantric, he shook his head and he told him, Thakur Mahasoy Padadila Mora Mate Tenu Prabhu Mui Britya Kailama Tote Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Kripa Kori Radha Krishna Mantra Dila Kane Anya Mantra Suniba Dikra Hukka Jibane Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishnadas Chandra Roy basically told him, go away. Get out of here. So what do you mean, get out of here? You're going to die, man. They're not feeding you. You're in this terrible prison. You just chant this mantra to Kali. Come with me, no problem. Krishnadas said, no. Thakur Mahashoy Padadila Moramate. Thakur Mahashoy, Narottam Das Thakur, my Gurudev, he gave me another mantra. Kripa Kori Radha Krishna Mantra Dilakani. He spoke this Radha Krishna mantra in my ear. Anya Mantra Sunibe Dikra Hukka Jibane. Better I die than take some other mantra. I'm not going to say, this is a mantra that I got from my Gurudev. To hell with any other mantras in my life. He said, it's okay. I've committed so many sins. I've committed so many offenses. Let me die here. But I'd rather die than take a different mantra than what my Gurudev has given me. And whatever he wants, I'll accept. The environment is friendly. This is a situation that he's put me in. If he wants me to stay here in prison, as Haridas Thakur told the prisoners, may you always stay as you are now. The prisoners said, well, what do you mean? What kind of ashirbad, what kind of blessing is that? No, because right now you're thinking of Krishna. That's very good. He said, you tell my father, don't worry. Actually, it's pretty good here in the prison. I don't have any, there's no distractions, there's no beautiful girls here to distract me. There's no quarrels, no arguments. I'm not getting in any fights with anyone. I said, my only lamentation is that I wish I could see the lotus feet of my Gurudev again. And he just began to chant. Chaitanya Bhagavat. One should cry. Oh, this is a nice verse. Do you remember Krishna Kon? Bhakti Yoga, thank you. Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Dana. Bhakti Krishna Nama Smarana Krandana Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Dana. Bhakti is the only wealth. Bhakti is the only wealth. Bhakti is the only wealth. Like some Hare Krishna fanatic, right? Okay, all right. I got it, all right, leave me alone. What is Bhakti? Bhakti Krishna Nama. Bhakti is Krishna's name. But smarana, not just chanting in a mechanical way, but chanting and remembering Krishna. Smarana, krandana, and crying. And so, in this way, Chandra Roy, he began doing his bhajan there in that prison, and he was singing different songs of Narottam Das Thakur, and remembering the Lord, and rendering service to the Lord in his mind. Radha Krishna Pranay Mora Jugala Radha Krishna Pranay Mora Jugala Kishora Jivane Marane Gati Aranahi Mora Jivane Marane Gati Aranahi Mora. In this way, he was singing the songs of his Guru Maharaj, and meditating on the divine faces of Radha and Krishna and serving their lotus feet. And he was in his meditation, he was fanning them and offering garlands to Radha and Krishna and serving Lalita and Champakalata and the different gopis under the guidance of his Guru Maharaj. So this went on for some time. And the Nawab, he became finally very angry. And his real intention became clear. He came to see Chunder Roy in prison. He said, "Hey, what's going on? I haven't given you any food. I put you in here. You're going to die? Aren't you going to try to bribe me?" That's the way in India, right? Aren't you going to try to give me something? Your father hasn't sent any money or anything? What's wrong with you? He said, "I'll kill you. You're not going to give me something? Fine. I'm going to have you killed by a mad elephant." And so they took Chunder Roy, who hadn't eaten anything in a few weeks, very, very weak, and they chained him up, and they brought him out in the village square. And all the people of the village, they came, and they brought one huge drunken elephant. But that elephant had killed many, many different people. And the crowd was gathering there to watch. Chunder Roy's feet and hands were tied up, and that mad elephant charged him. And Chunder Roy Krishnadas was just meditating on the lotus feet of his Gurudev. And that elephant picked him up and threw him down on the ground. And when the elephant threw him down on the ground, somehow the chains broke on Chunder Roy. And then Chunder Roy was freed, and he got up, and that elephant came running at him. And Chunder Roy hadn't eaten anything in a few weeks. Suddenly he reached out and he grabbed the trunk of that elephant and he ripped it. And he ripped the trunk of the elephant off of his body. And the elephant made a huge scream and fell down on the ground dead. The Muslim ruler was very impressed. He said, "Hey, come here. Sit down next. How did you do that? We haven't fed you anything in a few weeks. How did you get that strength?" And what did Krishnadas say? "My Gurudev, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Lange, Tegirim, Yakripatamaham Bande, Shigurum Dinatarnam." My Gurudev, it's his mercy. My Gurudev, his name is Narottam Das Thakur. And by his mercy, he's given me everything. He said, "You don't know. I could have escaped your prison. My father sent some tantric, but I refused to go because I wouldn't accept a different mantra other than what my Gurudev gave me." Krishna will test us. Gurudev will test us. Nawab, that Muslim king, was very impressed. And he embraced Chunder Roy Krishnadas. And he told him, "You bring a nice horse for this guy. We're going to let him go." And so Krishnadas got on that horse and said, and the Muslim ruler told him that you can return to your parents now. But Krishnadas, Chunder Roy, didn't return to his parents. Where did he go? He went to Kuturi Gram to see his Guru Maharaj. And he fell at the feet of Narottam Das Thakur. And he worshipped Narottam. And then he sent a letter to his father. "Father, I'm here. Please come quickly and bring some gifts for Guru Maharaj." Because it's very bad. I was in prison. I didn't have anything to give Guru Maharaj. I've come here. So you should bring something to give to him. So Raghavendra Roy, his father, and his brother Santosh Roy, they were very, very happy. And they came there to see him. And although Chunder Roy Krishnadas, he was very humble now. And he's a good son of his father. But now he was a little annoyed. When his father came, Krishnadas is looking at him. He said, "Father, why did you send that tantric? Why did you do that? You don't have faith in Guru Maharaj? Why, he's coming and trying to get me to chant some other mantra. Why did you do that? It's very, very bad." And his father became ashamed and hung his head down. And so they stayed there for 5 days doing kirtan with Narottam Das Thakur. Life's good. And then they finally went home. So this is a very nice story. Chunder Roy didn't come from such a high-class family. He was a very, very sinful person. He's someone I can relate to. I don't know about all of you. But I can appreciate his position. And we can understand that by the potency of Narottam Das Thakur, he received such strength. He killed that elephant with his bare hands. It reminds me of another song by the poet Devotees Das. Very nice song we sing every day. It's called Vaishnav Sarn. Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dare Jane Jane Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Eveda Purane Guna Gaya Jiva Shune Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dare Jani Jani. Devaki Nandan Das sings in this very famous, wonderful song that every follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dare Jani. It's not working, Prabhuji, at all.
Come back.
Okay. Every follower of Sri, it's kind of like India, electricity, huh? Okay. Every follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay, there we go. See, just when you come close, it comes on. Every follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has special power. This is the proof. See? He just comes near and the electricity comes on again. Jai. Thank you. Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dare Jani Jani. Every follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the potency to deliver the entire universe. Now I'd like to see a show of hands. How many of you here feel potent enough to deliver the universe? Prabhuji? How about a couple planets? How about just Canada alone? That's like a bargain sale. Who can deliver Canada alone? Anybody? How about just Ottawa? Then okay. How about just this one city block? Anybody can deliver that? But he says, Eveda Purane Gunagaya Basune. This is not, I'm not just trying to flatter you. I'm not going to ask you to borrow some money or something afterwards that trying to tell you can deliver a universe. He says this is Aveda Purani Gunagaya Basuni. This is what all the Vedas and Puranas, they all have to say. The demigods, they prayed to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was in the womb of Sachi Mata. Tomara gya eka eka seva ke tomar ananta brahmanda pare korite udar. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They said, by your order, Tomar Agyaya, Eka Eka Sevaki Tomar, Ananta Brahmanda Pare, Korite Udar. The same thing is said. By your order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of your devotees, each and every one of your servants can deliver innumerable universes. This is also said in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 14, text 24. Mad Bhakti Yukto Bhuvanam Punati. That a devotee, Vaggadagara Javate Yasya Chittam, who's in ecstasy, who's chanting the holy names of Krishna, who's crying and dancing, that devotee, he can purify the entire universe. Many, many statements. The 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 48, text 31, says, Darshanad eva sadhava. That just by seeing a saintly person, people can become purified just by seeing him. Jiva Goswami comments in that verse, he says, no one can deny that there are many holy places, many sacred rivers. And that the devatas, they appear in deity forms there, made out of earth and different things. But he says that those holy rivers and those devatas can purify someone only after a very long time, where saintly persons can purify someone just by seeing them. Anyway, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has spoke about this. Narottam Das Thakur spoke about this. Many, many different pramanas about this. I don't want to go in the form of all that. Narada Pancharatra. This is a very nice statement here. In the first yatra of Narada Pancharatra, chapter 9, it said, Mantra grahana matreno naro narayanatmaka punati lila matrena purushanam satam satam. As soon as someone gets a Krishna mantra, right? Remember we said this thing, Diksa-Guru, Bhakta Kori, Atma Samarpana, that as soon as you get Krishna mantra, like Chandaroy, like Krishna Das, as soon as you get Krishna mantra, then you become situated on the same platform as Narayan himself. And you easily deliver 100 generations of your family. Krishna mantro pasakanam sadyo darshana matrata satta janmarjitat papan muchite natya sangsaya. Natya sangsaya. Don't have any doubt that just by having darshan of a devotee who's always chanting the holy name of Krishna, just if you see someone who's always chanting the name of Krishna, all your sinful reactions that have been accumulated for hundreds of lifetimes become vanquished and they go away. Of this, there's no doubt. Lord Shiva tells Parvati, Vaishnava, this is spoken, Lord Shiva is speaking to Parvati in this section of Narada Pancharatra. Vaishnava darshan anaiva sparsanena cha Parvati sadhyaputam jalam vanir jagat putta samirana. Oh Parvati, just by seeing or touching a Vaishnav, water, air, fire, the entire world become instantly purified. Sometimes people say that, anyway, we're all out of luck. It's a really terrible news, but Prabhupada's the last one. And there's no more pure devotees. And those devotees who were fortunate enough to get initiated by Prabhupada, you're very lucky. And the rest of us, well, I'm sorry. It's too bad. There's no hope. Some people, they speak like this. Well, what a terrible atheistic kind of philosophy. This is a philosophy we were mentioning the other day in the Shinga Chaturdasi. This is a philosophy of Hiranyakashipu. He asked Prahlad, what's the best thing you learned in school? Oh, Father, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. To worship Krishna, that's the best thing. Huh? Who is this Krishna? Oh, Father, He's God. Where is He? Father, He's everywhere. Is He in this pillar? Yes, Father, He's in this pillar. Then I'll kill Him. And Hiranyakashipu took out his sword, and we know he got a big surprise, right? Because the Lord's everywhere. But He's not alone. Persons like Hiranyakashipu, they think, that God only maybe He resides in heaven. He resides in the spiritual world, if there is a God at all. But He can't come here. Or people say there's no more Vaishnavas. Prabhupada was the last one. And Krishna, he's looked in his pockets and his pockets are empty. He doesn't have any more. There's no more pure devotees. We're just out of luck. It's just too bad. It's a philosophy of Hiranyakashipu. My Guru Maharaj used to sometimes say that there's proof that there's pure devotees present. And what is the proof that pure devotees are present? He said that the sun is shining. That we have oxygen. That this universe is existing. That's proof that the pure devotees, there must be some pure devotee present. Some years after he spoke that, I remember reading in Padma Purana, in the 7th canto, chapter 2, text 81, Krishna tells Arjuna, he says the exact same thing. Sangsaro Vaishnavadino Deva Vaishnava Palitaha Aham cha Vaishnavadinas Tasmat Shreshtascha Vaishnava. He says, Sangsaro Vaishnavadino, that this whole universe cannot exist without the Vaishnavas. There must be some pure Vaishnava present. Otherwise the universe couldn't exist. Deva, Vaishnava, Palita. And the demigods, they're nourished by the presence of a pure Vaishnava. Without the presence of a pure Vaishnava, there'd be no Agni, there'd be no Vayu, there'd be no air, there'd be no Surya, there'd be no sun. This earth planet couldn't exist. Deva Vaishnava Palita. Krishna says, what to speak of them? Aham cha Vaishnavadinas. I can't exist. I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I can't exist without the presence of some Vaishnava. So there must be some Vaishnavas present, because we know, Abhinatvanamanaminno, that Krishna is not different from his name. And I've heard a lot of chanting of Hare Krishna going on in this place. There must be some pure devotee. Maybe that's her right there. It may be some little girl. It may be some old man. It may be the sannyasis. It may be the brahmacharis. It may be a housewife that no one pays attention to. But there must be some pure devotees somewhere. And maybe there's a lot of pure devotees. Because Krishna says himself, Aham cha Vaishnavadinas. I can't exist without the presence of the Vaishnavas. Tasmat Shreshta Vaishnava. Therefore, the Vaishnavas, they're the topmost persons. So, Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dari Jani Jani Eveda Parani Gunagaya Jebashuni. That the Vaishnavas are so powerful that they can deliver an entire universe. Should I tell you one more story I don't think you've heard before? It's a very nice story. This is from the Narada Purana. This is from the first canto, chapter 7. And it's a story that was spoken by Sanat Kumar, one of the four Kumars, to Narad Muni. And he began to speak to him about a king who was born in the solar dynasty. His name was Bahu. And he was the son of King Brika. And Bahu was devoted to righteousness. And he ruled in a righteous way. And he took care of all the Brahmins. And there was nice divisions of Brahmins, Vaishyas, and Kshatriyas, Sudras like this in his kingdom. But after some time, he became proud. Ekada tasharagyo vai sarva sampad vinasha krit ahankaro mahan yagye masuyo lobahetuka. Pride. Masuya, which is the destroyer of all wealth and the source of false ego and of all types of failure, accompanied by jealousy and greed, took possession of the king, and he began to consider, I'm better than everybody else. See, they've given me this seat, this throne. I am the king here. Everyone listens to me. I'm so powerful. I'm doing so many sacrifices. There's no one better than me. And so his arrogance increased. He became very, very jealous of other people. And he became very, very passionate. And Sanat Kumar, he tells Narad Muni, Yovanam dana sampati prabhu tvam avivekata ekaikam apyanartaya kim uyatra chatushtayam. Youth, affluence, power of authority, and indiscretion, even one of these things. Yovana, if you're very young. Dana, you're very wealthy. Sampati, you have some power of authority. Indiscretion, avivekata. Even one of these things can bring about destruction. He says, and what to speak if all four of these come together? And so he became very, very envious, and he started fighting with different people. It's the nature of envious people. Sometimes they just have to fight with somebody. And so he was fighting with different kings nearby. And eventually, his enemies, they gathered together and they defeated him. And Maharaj Bahu lost everything. He lost his kingdom. He just barely managed to run away to the forest. And he lost all of his soldiers, all of his wealth, his kingdom. All that he had left with him were two of his wives. And Maharaj Bahu was very, very depressed. He came across a lake in the forest, and when he saw the lake, it gave him a little peace of mind. But all the different birds that were residing at that place, when they saw Maharaj Bahu, they said, oh, very bad day. Just see what kind of creatures come here. Someone is very, very envious and very, very proud. Terrible creature. And so the king, he became very depressed. He drank water from that lake. He took bath there with his wives, and he sat underneath a tree. And thinking about all the wealth that he'd lost, he became so very, very depressed. And he lamented in so many ways, and due to his mental agony in his old age, he died after a few days. And the youngest wife of Maharaj Bahu at that time, she became very miserable. My pati, my husband, has left his body. This is very, very bad. And so she decided, I'm going to burn his body, and I'm going to perform sati. I'm going to enter into the fire with my husband, and I'll be with him, because I can't live without him. And so she started making that fire, and she was about to jump into the fire. At that time, Orva Rishi came there, one great sage. By his deep trance, he could understand what was going on. He was Trikalagya. He knew everything. And he came there and he said, lady, saintly lady, don't do this. This is a very sinful thing. He said, there's a child in your womb. You're pregnant. You didn't know that. And that child will become a great king himself one day. You cannot commit sati. You can't kill this child. And he says, Sanat Kumar tells Narad Muni, Brahmahatyari papanam prokta niskrita uttamai dhambasya ninda kashyapi brinu granasya cha na niskriti. The methods to relieve oneself from the sin of killing a Brahmin and other sins have been described by excellent men, but there's no means of atonement for someone who's a hypocrite, for someone who criticizes others. There's no atonement. And there's no atonement for someone who kills a child in the embryo, for someone who commits a sin of abortion. He said, so this is a very, very bad thing. Don't do this thing. You should perform the funeral rites of your husband, and you be steady in your mind. And so he guided her in how to do the funeral rites. She said, I'm just a woman. I don't know what to do with all these things. And so they burned the body of his husband. And the sage was standing nearby. And the Padma Purana, Narada Purana, describes that when that body was burning, suddenly an amazing thing happened. The king came out of the fire in a very brilliant body. And he ascended an aerial chariot. He bowed down to Orba, and it said there, Prapade Paramam Padam, that he achieved the topmost position. He went back to Godhead. Now you may say, that's a very confusing story. How did all that happen? Sanat Kumar explains to Narad Muni, Kalevaram va tad bhashma, tad dhuman anchapi sattama. Duma means smoke. We say Doompan Nishade. On all the trains, no smoking allowed. Bhashma means ashes. Kalevaram vatad bhashma tad duman chapi sattama yadi pashyata is pashyati punyatma sayati paramam padam. If a great soul who's a sattama just looks favorably at a dead body, looks favorably at its ashes, or sees a column of smoke going up from the funeral pyre, then that fortunate soul who occupies that body attains the highest goal. There's some very, very exalted Vaishnav, someone like Srila Prabhupada, is present when someone, their body is burned, and they just see the fire, they see the smoke coming up, they see the ashes. Mahad Pataka Yuktova. They may be a Mahapataka, the most sinful person. And the Narada Purana, different Purana, describes 5 types of Mahapatakis. Brahmaha cha surapi cha stei cha guruktalpaga Mahapataki nas ete tat samyogi cha panchama. The Mahapataki is 5 types of Mahapatakas. And it says even if someone's a Mahapataka, Even such a sinful person. So Mahapataka means someone who kills a Brahmin, someone who's a drunkard, someone who's a thief, someone who has sex with the wife of his guru, and someone who associates with those persons. They're a Mahapataka. So the verse describes that they may be a Mahapataka yuktova, they may be possessed with these great sins of Mahapataka. Yuktava sarvapatakai, they may have all types of sins, sarvapataka. But persons param padam, paryat eva, they achieve the topmost abode, mahadibir avalokita, if they get the gracious glance of great souls. So important is association with the Vaishnavas. There's some potency there. And this is Avista to Avesh. When we associate with the Vaishnavas in a way that pleases them by chanting the holy names. Jagadananda Pandit, he describes in Prema Vivarta, Sadhu Sangha Krishna Nam E Matra Chai Sansara Jigite Ar Kono Vastu Nai Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Sadhu Sangha Krishna Nam E Matra Chai. There's only two things that I want. Sadhu Sangha and Krishna Nam. Because these two things go together. If you really have Sadhu Sangha, it means you have Krishna Nam. Because really associating with a sadhu doesn't just mean that I get my photograph taken next to him. And then I blow it up 6 foot by 8 foot and put it on my wall to show everybody how much Guru Bhakti I have. There I am with Gurudev, and he and I are like this. That's not associating with Gurudev. That's what you do when you go to Disney World and they have one of those cutouts of Michael Jackson, and you stand next to the cutout and you tell me, I was with Michael Jackson. That's not Sadhu Sangha. But Sadhu Sangha means Krishna Nam, chanting the holy name. Then we come into association with the devotee. And when we chant Krishna Nam, when we do Sadhu Sangha, we please the sadhu, we get Krishna Nam. And from that Krishna Nam, what do we get? We get deeper Sadhu Sangha. Because we please Gurudev by chanting Krishna Nam. And from that deeper Sadhu Sangha, what do we get? We get deeper Krishna Nam. And from deeper Krishna Nam, what do we get? Even deeper Krishna Sadhu Sangha. And from even deeper Sadhu Sangha, even deeper Krishna Nam. And this way, these two go in cycle, and you can't separate one from another. Because when the appearance of the divinity is there, it implies the appearance of all his paraphernalia. You can't separate Prabhupada from Krishna, or Krishna from Prabhupada. You can't separate the devotee from Krishna. And when we chant that name under the guidance of Krishna, under the guidance of Sadhu, Rupa Namashrita Visha, we take shelter of the form of Krishna, the deity form of the Lord. We take shelter of the holy name. Then Avista, it enters into us. And Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dari Jani Jani Eveda Purani Guna Gaya Jebasuni. Each and every devotee can have the potency to deliver an entire universe. It's interesting to note in this regard that it's said that, there's a verse I can't recall, Mukti Sarvasa, Mukti Sarvata, Sarvesam, what is it? I think I have it here. Mukti Pradapta Sarvesham, Vishnu Eva Nasangsaya. Without a doubt, Nasangsaya. Only Vishnu can give liberation. This is spoken by Lord Shiva to Parvati. I can't give liberation. But then someone may raise their hand and say, excuse me, I thought that Lord Shiva was also the head of a Vaishnava Sampradaya. And he's Gurudev. And Gurudev gives liberation. Does Gurudev give liberation? Gurudev doesn't give liberation. The Vaishnavas don't give liberation. But they give liberation because the holy name can give liberation. And this is the meaning of Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dari Jani Jani. Every jana, every single follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can deliver all the universes because they're carrying the holy name. They're giving the holy name. Such a wonderful thing it is to associate with the Vaishnavas through the mediums of Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan. And so this is the meaning of this first verse of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And this is a basic principle of our movement, the principle of empowerment. And this is why we're here. This is the purpose of this movement. Our purpose is not just to make buildings. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, on one occasion, he said, we're not construction workers. That's not why we've come, just to make so many buildings. But we've come to give the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our purpose is not just to make buildings or to collect money or even to distribute books or even to collect followers or something. But our purpose is to empower people, to give them Krishna so that they can give Krishna to others. And that's why we have temples. That's why we have book distribution. That's why we want members. That's why we want to encourage people to give donations. And that's why we all want to come together as a community and hear and chant in association with advanced Vaishnavas so that everyone can become empowered. 6 Grihastha devotees went to London on their own. And they met the Beatles, and they made George Harrison into a devotee, and they did something that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's most senior sannyasi disciples couldn't do. They established a temple in London, and they got everyone in London to chant Hare Krishna. This is the purpose of this movement. And it shouldn't be something we just read about in Prabhupada Lilamrita, something in the past, and oh, isn't that really nice? And Maharaj, please accept my obeisances, and all the senior devotees, we really appreciate what you've done, and that's a different era. No, it's still going on today. It hasn't stopped. Krishna's not dead. God's not dead. Srila Prabhupada's not dead. He's present in the form of his Shakti to those devotees who are very, very sincere and who are following and taking part in this Krishna conscious movement by making Krishna Nam, Krishna Katha their life and soul. And those persons are separable constituents of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna appears through those devotees, and he can do amazing things. He can deliver universes. And what to speak of one little city of Ottawa is nothing. But we'll stop there. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakta Binda ki, Vanchakalpaduribhishcha, Pita Sindhu-Deva-cha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo. I don't know exactly the schedule. We're a little earlier than we have been the last few nights, but we also have class tomorrow morning, and we want to I'd like to be here and get some rest and be there for that. Do we have time for some reflections, some comments from me? Is that okay? Wherever I go, I'm always afraid of the temple presidents, you know. Shankar Prabhu, I don't know if he's a very intimidating person. He makes me very nervous, you know. I'm afraid he's going to get angry or something. So, if we have his permission, Prabhuji Lakshman.
There's notions now going around in ISKCON that I don't exactly understand. Kind of the era of the youth, you know. It's like now it's the young generation.
I think that happens every generation. It's always the era of the youth.
Step back. You've done your thing.
How would I comment on that? Well, that's history. This Krishna conscious movement was based on the era of the youth. We called it the hippie movement. And all those young people, they came to Srila Prabhupada. And it was a revolution. And all the older devotees who are here today, they're all young people with that kind of mood. And Prabhupada empowered them. So this is the same thing that should be going on today. The young people should be there, but they should be empowered. And how is it that all these disciples of Srila Prabhupada, how did you go out? These devotees were going out in Harinam for 8, 12 hours sometimes a day, all day long. We can barely go out for 2 or 3 hours when we feel like we're going to die. They were going out for 8 or 12 hours a day. They were doing amazing things. How is it they were able to do that? Because they were strictly following Srila Prabhupada. They had faith in Srila Prabhupada. So the young people, they should take over. We want that. We don't need a bunch of old fossils. But we need young people who are dynamic, who have new ideas. But you need to be empowered. You need to have the ashirbad, the blessing of those older devotees. Once someone told me he was trying to glorify my Guru Maharaj. He's a fanatic disciple, one of my godbrothers, and he said, actually, our Guru Maharaj is a Nitya Siddha. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, that was his opinion. He said, he's a Nitya Siddha, and a Nitya Siddha has no godbrothers. And he has no seniors. And I heard that and I thought, what a horrible, horrible thing to say. Could you imagine going to Krishna in Vrindavan and telling him, Krishna, you know, actually, these are not your parents. And there's nobody senior to you. Actually, you're the most senior person that there is. You don't have to give respect to Nanda and Upananda and Sananda and your older uncles and the older gopis. And Krishna's going to start crying. Krishna gets so much pleasure, there's so much happiness in having relationships with senior devotees. And so the senior devotees, it's their duty to give their relationship, to give what you've gotten from Srila Prabhupada. Share that. But love, trust, responsibility, and empowerment. There has to be trust. And the young persons, you need to show that you're worthy of that trust. That you're going to take up, you're going to follow what Srila Prabhupada gave in a strict way. It's good to have ideas. Prabhupada had so many ideas. Sometimes Burke Rutherford, who's a great devotee actually, he's a secret devotee, he's a sociologist, and his speciality is the Hare Krishna movement. And he commented once, he said, the problem with the Hare Krishna movement today is you become more smarta, like more smarta Brahmins, you become more conservative than Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was so dynamic and he had so many ideas how to spread Krishna consciousness, but now you're becoming very, very conservative. We need new ideas. There has to be young people taking up things. But those young people, to become empowered, they have to show that they're worthy of that trust. And then they'll be given responsibility. And they'll be given empowerment. And the older devotees should be very, very happy to see them. We should want those younger devotees to do things that we couldn't do. The older devotees couldn't do. That should be our mood. I'm not a Prabhupada disciple, but I'm becoming an old fossil. I'll be turning 60 in a couple of years. I've been around the movement for some time. So is that okay? But would you have any further thoughts on that? You must have thought about this a lot, I'm quite sure. Anybody else have any? Gaura Prabhu?
A couple points. One just in regard to what you just said, that we need new ideas. It sounds like you're saying we should be innovative in the way that we spread our Krishna consciousness. And so we see yoga entering into a lot of our Krishna consciousness. And I noticed amongst my godbrothers there are those who are strict orthodox that we don't want a bunch of people stretching their bodies around in our temples, and then there's others saying, no, the yoga crowd, your great customers, they're going to take up the Krishna consciousness. So I see kind of a split on that. And also regarding your comment about the Hiranyakashipu lineage or philosophy, I was thinking, because you were saying, oh, the Prabhupada disciples, you know, you're the lucky ones, the rest of us were a bunch of losers.
Somebody, that's their philosophy. Well, I don't agree with that.
Actually, they say, no, everyone's a Prabhupada disciple. Oh. Everyone's a winner, not just a Prabhupada disciple. Oh. But the problem I see with that is if a young devotee overnight becomes a Prabhupada disciple, like Abhiram Prabhu said to me, the reason I don't go on Facebook is there's so much egalitarianism where everyone, you know, 1 month old Bhakta thinks he's equal to a 40-year Prabhupada disciple, because he's also, I mean, from what I understand, Prabhupada said they are my grand disciples.
I call them internet gladiators. I've got the folio. I saw a cartoon of 2 dogs talking to each other in front of a computer, and the one dog was telling the other dog, he said, the really cool thing about the internet is you can say anything you want and nobody knows that you're really actually a dog. That's the dynamics of that. So what was your first point? Can you
point of, well, and I've had that discussion, you know, there's how to discern between a principle,
the yoga thing.
And a detail. And I was using yoga as...
Well, I've heard from so many of the older devotees that this whole Hare Krishna movement was based on some electric guitars in some ways. And Vishnu Jan Maharaj traveling around with the Traveling Road Show, but electric guitars and rock and roll music, which is what they were playing with Hare Krishna lyrics, that's not bhakti. That's not a Mukhya Anga Bhakti, but Prabhupada allowed that, Prabhupada approved that, and so many things. Prabhupada wrote one letter, and so the devotees at one time, you can dress like Santa Claus and go out.
Another letter shutting down
shutting down the Santa Claus thing. Right.
Don't try to
Right, he stopped the electric kirtan. But at one point it was there, and Prabhupada liked Mangalananda, and he liked some of the different songs and things. So the principle that I would see behind that is not the external, whether it's yoga or whether it's electric guitar, but the principle is it going to work? Are we going to be able to give people direct bhakti? Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj was giving a wonderful series of talks a few years ago in Jagannath Puri on Madhuri Kadambini. And he was speaking about how in Russia there's so many people who want to do bridge preaching. Bridge preaching means you have a river with two embankments, and you're on one side, and the people that you want to preach to, you have to go to the other side of the river to reach, to connect with them. So there are devotees who are speaking now about astrology and about Vastu and about yoga and that. But Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj made the point. He says sometimes they make this bridge to go on the other side, and the devotees never come back. They go to the other side, and some of the other people that they're preaching to, they're telling them, about Vastu and astrology and this and that. And people say, yeah, I really like that. They like astrology and Vastu, but they have no interest in Krishna consciousness. So what's the value? So Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj's point was, it's not that we cannot use those things, but he suggested that from the very beginning there should be a thread. We don't cheat people, we don't trick them. From the very beginning, we're Hare Krishna devotees. We like Krishna consciousness, but we also know something about Vedic culture. We know something about Odissi dance, if you like that. We know something about Vastu, if you like that, or astrology, or this thing or that thing. But we're Hare Krishna devotees, and we'll make friends with you. And when you make friends with them in that way, then they like the devotee, then they'll go in the direction of becoming devotees. A wonderful example that I've seen of this in active principle today is the Bhakti Center in New York. And they have Ayurvedic cooking classes, and they have classes in Hatha Yoga, and they have classes in Vedic accounting, or all kinds of different things. But they're Hare Krishna devotees who are doing it. And it's in a Hare Krishna center, and they don't hide anything. And they just make friends with people. And they because it's not bad doing Hatha Yoga. I heard from Bhaktidas Prabhu and some of the devotees when Prabhupada went to San Diego, he went to Balboa Park, and for one morning walk, Bhaktidas was there, and the devotees were walking with Srila Prabhupada, and they saw some hippies standing on their head doing some asanas, yoga asanas, and one of the devotees started making fun of them, laughing, just see Prabhupada, some Hindu gymnasts, or something like this. And Prabhupada said, no, this is very good for health. And all of a sudden the devotees got quiet, and they all gathered around Prabhupada real quick. He said, Prabhupada, can we do like that also? And Prabhupada said something which I think maybe time, place, and circumstance. Prabhupada said, no, don't do that. And I humbly think that if Prabhupada would have said, yeah, it's a good idea, then maybe instead of Mangal Arati, we'd start having Surya Namaskar or something like that. Things would have changed, because Prabhupada saw that was the nature of the devotees in that day. But if we have a very strong foundation in bhakti, in Krishna consciousness, yoga is not a bad thing, Hatha Yoga, for our health of our body. And if we can use that to interest people in Krishna consciousness, but let's not trick them. It's not, what do you call it, bait and switch. You bait someone with something, and then you switch the thing. Our real purpose is not yoga, but we want you to be a Hare Krishna devotee. And people feel cheated by that. It's not good. There should be no bait and switch. Anything else from anybody? Mataji? Speak loudly. My hearing's a little bad.
I want to apologize in advance if I don't quote your expressions. I just want to understand it from my heart. The more you think on the divine, the more you take that inside yourself.
Yes.
Now, is that a type of attachment? And is that all right if you become attached to it?
Everyone has to have some attachment somewhere. We're not stones. We're not inert objects. But we should channel that attachment to the divine. And the wonderful thing about Krishna consciousness is, we've been explaining tonight, that it's not like the impersonalists think that some impersonalists, they chant Hare Krishna with the idea that I'm going to become Krishna, I'm going to become God. And Jiva Goswami, he says that's a nonsense philosophy, that we're all one. And he gives a proof of it, a very interesting proof. He said if we were all one, if actually everybody was all one and we're all one with God, we know that's not true, because as soon as one person got liberation, then we'd all be liberated, right? Because if we're all one. But it's never worked like that. And even the impersonalist followers of Shankaracharya, they say that there's some individuality. Otherwise, why would everybody have to take up some path? So it's not becoming one in that sense, but when we take up Krishna consciousness, some Shakti, some Bhakti Shakti, some potency of devotion, of love, comes into the heart of a devotee who has a loving connection with an advanced Vaishnava. That's our point. Thank you. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Good comment. Thank you. Anybody else? Gopalananda Prabhu, do you want to say something?
No, it was very, very nice. Well, the thing about empowerment, Krishna will empower those that he chooses if they're qualified or deserving that empowerment. If it's motivated, I want to be such a powerful devotee and I want to show that I have so much devotion and so much empowerment, well, that may not happen.
We've seen that movie a few times.
Yeah. And it's a recipe for disaster. But like Prabhupada, at the end of his life, as God was came, they finally acknowledged, you've done the impossible, you've done a miracle, and you give Krishna to the whole world. Prabhupada said, no, somehow I was simply trying to satisfy my Guru, and somehow he was pleased with me and he worked through me. But Prabhupada didn't even take credit. He said, yes, my Guru wanted to have this happen, so he worked through me. That's pretty pure, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he had done the impossible, the greatest miracle in history, and he didn't want to take credit for it. He gave it all to his Guru.
And that's real love and trust. When we love our Gurudev so much that we're honest enough that we want his trust, because I'm not trying to claim that it's from me. I'm not trying to claim that the things that I heard from Gurudev, belong to me and I thought of this thing. But this is his mercy, this is his coming from him. And then when we show that love and trust, then we're given responsibility and empowerment. It goes like that. Although sometimes people who don't really have love and trust, they just put on a show of it, sometimes they demand responsibility. And there's no empowerment, because it's just a show.
So does that mean, therefore, that it's a path of selflessness?
Yes. Selflessness in a divine way, not in an impersonal way, but selflessness that I give up my thinking of my benefit and I think of the pleasure of someone else. I think of the pleasure of an advanced Vaishnava. And we should also act that way for others. Let me sacrifice my life to help other people, to give them Krishna consciousness. Let me help those persons who are suffering, who don't have anything.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Naranja Maharaj, you want to add anything? Okay. Do we have time for kirtan?
I was going to ask if there is the desire, would be wonderful.
Can we ask a question of everybody? Is there anybody here who would like to have Naranja Maharaj do kirtan? Hare